Hi everyone, I'm Kim Fleet. I'm the creator of the Writer's Block Bootcamp, and today I want to talk about when your writing changes a gear. So if you've got a writing spreadsheet and you've had a look through at all the submissions that you've made, you might have noticed that your writing has changed pattern over the months and possibly years. And this, by changing pattern, I mean that you started sending your work out to different places. And often this happens just because you get more experienced at writing, or it might be because you've taken a course like an MA in creative writing, and you've just sort of learnt new writing techniques, you've got much more confidence in your writing, and your writing has gone up a level. Now, when your writing goes up a level, it's not uncommon for your hit rate, the number of publications and acceptances, actually to go down. And this is because you're just getting used to the new level that you're writing at. Maybe you haven't quite hit it just yet. But also, your acceptance rate might just drop at this point just because you are up against really big fish. So your writing's at the right level, but you're up against really big fish. And as we've talked about before, writing is very much a numbers game. So the more you get your writing out there, the more likely you are to get acceptances and publications. So have a look at where you've been sending your work to. Now, it might have been that for the past couple of years you've been sending work out predominantly to small competitions or to local competitions. And that's great. That's a really good way to build up your confidence, get some publications, get some experience, and really start to feel like a writer because your work's being successful and it's being appreciated. But then there comes a point where you think, I might send my work off to sort of a bigger competition, and you might start looking at the national or even international writing competitions. The competition you're up against with these ones is huge. Obviously, there are writers all around the world with years and years of experience who are entering these competitions, and they often have really big prize money. So it's not surprising that there's lots of people who enter them. So if you've been entering these competitions and maybe not doing so much with the smaller local competitions, then it could just be that you're playing with the big guys now and you just sort of have to keep on sending in those submissions, keep on working on your writing, and then you will get those acceptances. But if your writing has gone up a level, perhaps you're being a bit more experimental with your writing. Perhaps you've written a piece that's in the second person or in the future tense. You might just be sending it off to the wrong place. If you're still sending that kind of work out to local competitions, you might not get through just because the writing is at the wrong level for that competition. They might not want experimental writing. They might want sort of more of a, let's say, straightforward short story. So if you're being more experimental with your writing, if, say, you've done a master's in creative writing, if you're experimenting with the form, small local competitions might not be a good fit for your writing, in which case start looking at the bigger competitions. Start looking at the national competitions and looking at literary journals for your work. So if you're feeling a little bit sort of despondent that sort of none of your work is hitting, so you used to get wins in the local competitions but you're not anymore, and you're not hitting it yet sort of with the national competitions or literary journals, you can start to feel that you're stuck in reverse. So how do you get out of reverse gear? Well, focus on the middle range of competitions. So I'm not saying ignore the really huge competitions because you've got to be in it to win it, so you may as well have a go, but really put your focus into the middle range. So have a look at the middle range of journals in the UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Canada and the US, and start sending work out to them. Have a look for the middle range competitions, the ones that maybe offer about £500 in prize money for the winner. That's possibly about the right level. So the ones that offer 10,000 quid, they're brilliant, but don't focus on them exclusively. Look for the middle range. And keep on sending out work to this mid-range until you start raising your acceptance rate, and then you'll know that you're out of reverse. But if you're really stuck in the doldrums, the thing to do is to get a few quick wins under your belt. And the way to do this is to have a look at things like readers' letters, tips and recipes. If you have a look at the really cheap weekly magazines, they have a huge requirement for content from readers. So have a look at those and just say, well, do you have a tip or an anecdote or a joke or a recipe that you can send in to that magazine? And you might win £20, £50, something like that, which is very nice to have, and also it gives you a nice little boost to your confidence. But the great thing about these little fillers in magazines is they are almost without risk to you as a writer. Because if you get a letter published, well, you know, that's nice. But if you don't, it doesn't hurt your self-esteem. You don't feel that crushing that you get if you get a rejection, say, from a magazine for a short story or from an agent that you sent your novel to. So you can have lots of fun with them, but it's pretty much no risk. Now, I know you've done lots of writing courses. You've probably got a master's in creative writing, and you might think this is a bit beneath you. You can write better than that. But see it as a challenge. Can you write in the style of that magazine? Can you create the voice of the typical reader of that magazine to have some fun with it? And best of luck.